Welcome to America's hottest talk line. Guys, hot ladies are waiting to talk to you.
Vinegar syndrome. Guys.
There, she wrote my name like I'm the.
She says Yeehaw and Greg.
Yeah, like she's straddling me, and then XOXO. Yes. So,
Greg's got a girlfriend.
Yeah, it's got the Mighty Ducks guy. Got that?
No! Yes, but no! He's not the Mighty Ducks guy! It's Emilio Estevez! One of the Brat Pack! Jesus Christ! He was the Brat Pack before he was the Mighty... The Mighty Ducks is the end of his career! Jesus Christ! Get off my plane. I think Sony paid you a bunch of money to talk about all their steelbooks tonight.
This is a movie I didn't think I'd like as much as I did. I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Debbie does Dallas.
They actually produced crew jackets. Like the movie never went into production.
And then everybody asks about, what's it like being a part of the movie that bombed, or are we still talking about that? I said, look, well, I'd much rather be the leader of a squad in a movie than be the lead of a movie in the summer of '87 that no one remembers what it was.
Is anyone even there still? I don't even know.
Yeah, we're just looking into
Okay. I was like, no one's saying it. Like, really is the story?
Just for instance, like, I mean, they've got all sorts of stuff. You can never have enough physical media. DVDs don't have contracts.
Oh yes.
Keep that in mind.
I actually used that line in my latest video. I actually think I said physical media, but DVD is a great.
Same thing. Yeah, that was a great comment
by Sean.
Yeah.
But hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on this lovely Wednesday with love in the air. For some, not for me, but welcome everybody. Welcome, Tom. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. Considering it's Valentine's Day and I'm all by my lonesome. But
I mean,
you know what? We're here to talk some physical media. So
I mean, physical media will never leave you. It will always be there for you. It'll make you laugh. Right. It'll make you cry. It has
no contracts.
Has no contract. It will always and forever love you for who you are. So remember that, folks. Yes. But before we get into all this, Rookie will be here. He's just running a little late. He's not at the Best Buy like Runner would be. He's closing up shop at his work. And I will say to everybody out there, thank you for all your well wishes and thoughts and prayers and everything for me as I was in the hospital. I saw all your guys' comments and stuff. I much appreciate it. I spent 3 days there, and next Tuesday I will have my gallbladder removed. So I should feel a lot better by then. But thank you so very much for everybody that left me a comment and reached out to me. Let's say hi to the chat real quick. We got Random Brad Creator. What's up, Random Brad? Glad to have you here as always. And I have a new channel member. Psycho has become a new channel member. Thank you, Psycho. Yes, I like it. He's been leaving me a lot of great comments lately. I really appreciate him. Thank you so very much. And then we have Auto Whack. Let's get physical. Hell yeah, let's get physical. And Heather Preston, hi to you. And here you go. Fresh out of the hospital with Demand Physical Media. Well, the one and only Greg and the Kick-Ass Physical Media crew. Well, thank you, Style Section. Glad to have you here. And as always, we are here to give you a good time with physical media. And salute to you, Deleted Scenes. And then we have Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU with a bunch of emojis. Hi, how are you? I love that name, by the way. What up, Psycho Not Your Daddy? Glad to have you with us as well. I didn't recognize that. Oh, I'm not sure what movie. You have to let us know what movie that was. Cowabunga Dude, what's up? I think that is a new name in the chat. So welcome here. Glad to have you here. Ace Hanlon, hola, welcome. I'll be back. All right.
I'll be back.
What is up, Tyrell? Evening to you. Glad to have you with us. And Clark the Shark, thank you. Thank you for being here. And yes, I'm glad to be back in the saddle again. And then we have Dan Blackroyd that says, thanks for the Blu-rays. I'll leave the money at the dresser. I don't know who he's okay. And then we have Trevor Maurer says, hello, everybody. And Greg, hope you are not going to change TNC show the halfway through. What? Do you know what that is? Am I missing something?
Transition? I don't know.
I don't know. Hello, Greg, hope you are not going to change. TNC. Well, we're not going to change. No, we will not change. Thank you, Random Brad, by the way. And what's up, Anthony Draven? Hell to you. And yes, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. So with that being said, that's everybody up. Thank you, everybody out there in the chat hanging with us tonight. Everybody watching at home, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Get some eyes in here. But as far as physical media releases this week, or that we got announcements of, I don't think there was too many. I know me and Tom was about to say the Departed from 2016 or 2006? What year was that?
Oh, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, 2006, I think, right?
I don't know about that long ago. I think it was like 20. Was it that long ago? It's 20. It's 20th anniversary for it. So it must have been 2004. You might be right.
Oh, yeah. 2006. It says 2006.
Oh, it's 2006? Okay, I thought it was the anniversary. But anyway, the pre-orders are up for it. The Steelbook is on all over the place. I'm giddy because it's one of my favorite Scorsese films. So yeah, I'm happy to finally see it get a 4K release.
Yes, me too.
It's coming sooner than we thought. Like it's coming in April. So
yes. So
or at least that's the rumor. I should say we don't have an official date.
Yeah, we don't have an official date, but it's out there. Yeah, I was thinking it was much later in the 2000s myself as well. Then I was like, no, it's 2006. But
I thought it was the anniversary too. I thought it said, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
obviously,
yes. What's up, RJ Godzilla 2? And also, look who else we have in this chat with us.
It's a Geary.
Geary. It's a Geary. What's up, man?
Geary. How you doing, Gary?
Yes, how you doing, Gary? I did see the Iron Claw is getting. I believe it was March.
Oh, that's yeah. There's some new ones, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I believe it was March 6th. I want to say. I got to look at that.
Already on video on demand, so I've been like thinking about.
I've been wanting to see it. It looks really good. I've heard good things.
I'm not even a wrestling fan, but it sounds like it might be.
I'm a huge wrestling fan, man. Since I was a kid, we watched this all the time.
I like the old school stuff, all right. But
yeah. March 26th is the street date for the DVD or the Blu-ray digital. No 4K, sadly. So
I wonder what it is on. Let me see what Voodoo has. If it's in 4K on digital, that means.
Yeah, you might want to wait a
minute. Voodoo has been trouble lately trying to find. Oh, here we go. I was on Most Watched. That's probably why. Where is it?
Yeah.
So that's somebody had said it's on demand now.
Bloop. There you go. And look who's here with us.
I'm just getting my Valentang booty. My Valentine's Day poontang, of course.
Shouldn't we all? Yeah. What's up, Hallowfield? Glad to have you with us.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's 4K on Voodoo, but they got it buried, like you have to dig for it.
Huh.
It's only $20 for the 4K.
I wonder if it's gonna come get a 4K release then, or why would they not? That's crazy. I hate when they do that. Who
put it out again? Is it
an A24? It's an A24 film.
Do they release their stuff through Universal or who?
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they do sometimes they're the jackasses who they'll release it on a Blu-ray and then they'll release a really expensive 4K only on
that's right. I remember now. Yeah, like the one they did before. I can't remember the name of it.
A Lighthouse.
Yeah.
What's up?
That'd probably be it.
Yeah, that's probably what they do. And then like Arrow did the 4K UK release of that Lighthouse. So that's probably what happened. 6. Nice thumbnail.
Well, we're gonna sword fight later, I think.
We're going to cross streams.
Cross the streams.
Later, Gary.
That could be bad. Oh, he's leaving. It's not gay enough for Gary.
It's not gay enough for him. But I think that's really all. I mean, there was a couple new Shout exclusive titles dropped on their.
Fuck Shout.
I love doing that just to hear you say that.
Let me see if there's anything worth a shit. Jill Rips. It's got Dolph Lundgren, but
Dolph Lundgren, yeah.
I don't know what it is. Is that it?
And there was one more, but I have no clue. It's just like I saw it and I was like,
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
No, it was something else. Let me check.
Those are the first two that came up as newest arrivals. There's a couple of anime things here, but I don't count those because I'm not a fucking weeb.
Oh, it was an anime thing. It was a classic
yeah,
Susato collection. Was 2 exclusives or whatever.
No, I'm gonna hope I can make it as long as I can without having to find a way to finagle getting shit from them directly.
Yeah. Well, you can always go to Diabolic, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the exclusive ones, but yeah. Or do those guys grab the?
Yeah, sometimes they do get the exclusive ones.
Fuck you, Shout.
Yeah, I have seen. I haven't seen Space Truckers on there, but I have seen the double feature Roger Corman stripper movies. I've seen that one, the movie you got that you and Runner got with Carradine. And I do believe they actually did have what was the one with the Kurt Russell one? I do believe they had a couple of those on there. I do believe I.
Damn it! And I missed it.
Yeah, but they won't. Like I said, they go really, really quick there too. So I don't know if they always get them, but I have seen them on Diabolic a couple times. So there you go. There you guys have it. I believe that's it as far as new releases.
Yeah, it really wasn't. That was Style Section, and what Hank says is that Kamen Riders now on physical media now or something.
Yeah,
I guess.
Kamen Riders.
Shout Factory gave us whatever. Yeah, I didn't see the link, but yep.
That's sort of like Power Rangers, I believe.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's how I know of them. They're the not Power Ranger, one of the not Power Rangers, but
yeah.
So,
but yeah, so that is about it tonight. It might be a little bit of a light show tonight, guys, because I didn't get much watch this week for various reasons.
Why would that be? What's your excuse now, FanZcene? Gee,
we already knocked.
Gosh, getting late.
We already talked about that. You're late.
Oh, okay. Dang it! I was trying to beat that guy.
Yeah, no, you're late. But no, I mean, I didn't get much watched either. But there's a few things I watched that were part of other collections that I'll bring on at a later date, I guess. But,
okay, Roka, I didn't even. How many did you get tonight?
2, which I promise I'll be watching more movies in March. I'll be watching a bunch in March.
I think we're all same place here. I got 2.
Yeah, I got 2. Yeah.
And spoilers, one I have technically brought on before, but
I mean, it's okay. I mean,
Greg's like, I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. You can talk about the differences.
Well, I feel like after how many episodes are we on now?
130 tonight. Thank you all for 130 episodes, by the way.
Do you remember episode 7?
Yeah. That was the one.
To be honest with you, I mean, we are physical media collectors, and we do buy these.
As many times as we've talked about Scream, I think I can get a mulligan.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can get them in here and there.
Yeah. I mean, the reason we do buy these are so to watch them, and we buy our favorites. And what do you do with your favorites? You watch them over and over.
Watch them again. Yes.
That's why we buy them. And that's something streaming cannot promise you, because that favorite may not always be there.
Oh, yeah, that is the struggle, my friend. That is the struggle.
Just saying. But with all that being said, who wants to go first tonight? Rook, Tom, Rook, since you're new, you're late.
One of these days, we need to do like a rock, paper, scissors or some shit. Like some type of rock, paper, scissors setup and go first or something. Do an order like that.
Let's make the rookie go first.
Yeah, we'll make Rookie go first since he's late. Come on, Rook, what do you got for us?
Problemo. So actually, I want a suggestion from you guys. So I don't have all the Shrek movies, but I felt like watching those again. So I was trying to. I thought I had the Shrek 1 and 2 at one point, but I couldn't find them. So I watched Shrek on streaming. But I want to get the collection. But so far, I'm not seeing any good options on Amazon. Anyway, it's like $40 or so. But as far as I can tell, it's only available. As far as I can tell, it's only on streaming, and they don't even have ones for like the DVD or Blu-ray set. And so I'll probably, like you said, probably go to the Blu-ray or 4K place to get those. But I rewatched Shrek because I haven't seen that in a while. I wanted to see The Last Wish. Everybody's saying Puss in Boots' Last Wish is really good, and I'm like, oh, okay, why not? Hearing Mahler and them talk about it for a little bit, why not? I'll dip my toes back into the Shrek world for a little bit and see what's up. That is one of the most you can just go back to it anytime movies. I think that I know. It's been years since I've seen it. I think we watched it in like psychology class for high school, and I watched it when I was younger, of course. But it was like the only few times that I watched it. Still good. Still remember the little bits and parts, funny bits to Gingerbread Man, all the jabs at Disney specifically with it. Very fun movie.
I'm gonna say something. Whoa, I hit the wrong button. What happened here?
You're big.
Oh,
And you got
sorry.
rid of Brett.
You got rid of me,
No.
ass.
Hey, I'm a little tired. I didn't mean to. I do love David Blackwood's comment. Just finished his rant about streaming. Watches this on Netflix.
Right.
But I'm going to say something controversial here. I don't like the Shrek movies.
You don't?
No,
Damn.
I don't.
I've never.
I like the
heard
first
that.
two. After the third one, I hated. The fourth one is meh.
I don't remember anything after the first one, so that's why I want to rewatch. I know I've seen second, third, and I don't know if I've seen the fourth. I don't remember. Like I don't, which tells me like that's what I was kind of getting at. I don't remember those ones pretty much at all, but just like only seeing Shrek like twice, and they're all many years apart. Like I still was like, oh, funny. I remember this scene. I remember this part. I remember that. Like there's a lot of stuff in the first Shrek that I think stands out as pretty memorable and stuff. Like, and just the concept, you know, he's just an ogre, just doing a swamp thing. He's a new character. And then they like kind of put him with these other fairy tale characters that we're all more than familiar with. You know, this cage is too small and stuff. Well, blind mice come in there. It's just like done in a neat little way. Is Donkey, I assume that Tom might have probably looked into this or so I assume. With this stuff, is he supposed to be the like from Pinocchio world or something? Donkey?
No, he's just his own thing.
Yeah. Because everybody's saying like, "Hey, this is his own original thing." But I mean, if they're going with fairy tale creatures, I mean, I guess Pinocchio.
No, Shrek and Donkey and the princess are supposed to be their own thing. The rest of the characters are
all the familiar. Okay.
They live in fairy tale world. They're just
right.
They're creating their new fairy tale with the Shrek movies.
Right.
No, and I never thought of that aspect of it. As far as I could tell, Donkey was just always a donkey.
Those were
just treated like a donkey.
Those
and
were
that's why he liked Shrek, because
videos.
Shrek was the first person who actually treated him not like a donkey.
Those were the earlier YouTube theory videos that I saw, like one of the first ones. It was like, you know, is that what Donkey is? He the Pinocchio ones, but
like he's Lampwick.
Yeah, pretty much something like that. But no, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody critique Shrek.
Most people like Shrek. Most people do. I'm like I said, I'm a bit of I never really liked them. I like Mike Myers. I like Eddie Murphy. They just didn't do it for me. I'm just.
What parts would you think? Would you be able to say if you remember that you specifically don't like?
Dude, I've seen the part 1 and 2, and then after that, I stopped. I couldn't name a part really. I don't know. I do know Chris Farley was supposed to be the voice of Shrek, and you can find that online. A segment that he recorded. Yeah, so he died.
For me, 3 just didn't have the same bite that the first 2 did. Like the first one was really good, and then the second one might actually be better. And that's just because they amp it up. Like all the things that were great about the first film, they amped it up to 11 in the second film.
Do you think it's like by the third one, it just becomes sort of a gimmick of its own world? Like
the third film kind of became too much of its own concentrated story on, you know, what's his face, Justin Timberlake playing the prince deal and all that. So it's like it just didn't feel like a Shrek movie. It almost
spending
felt
more
like
time with characters that we don't really
that I don't really give a shit about. Like, yeah, exactly. Like I just didn't care about those characters. Like it's like that's not Shrek. And then Shrek Forever After got back to Shrek as more of a main character, but by that point it had kind of wore off.
I feel like the novelty of the first one is its first one is pretty much making fun. It's like the first parody stuff directly at Disney, but just as a whole, all the fairy tales essentially, I guess, right? I mean, it's probably ones that have parodied it before, of course, but as far as
but not on this level, right?
Yeah, like DreamWorks and pretty much using the formula itself, but also I guess I would only compare it to South Park, where they make fun of it in parody in that kind of way, but that's the more obvious parody as far as this is its own story still entirely with it.
Well, and it was kind of the first time that anybody besides a few minor hits that anybody had really competed with Disney on any level.
Yeah.
Because Shrek was a huge hit. Yes. And there is a bit of there was a rivalry because Katzenberg came from Disney.
Wasn't he the one that had the ant idea when they did Bugs Life?
Well, he stole all the ideas that they were going to do. He knew exactly what they were making over at Disney, so that's why they did Deep Impact and ants and shit like that to compete with Armageddon and Bug's Life. Yeah.
See, the way that I heard it was that he had those ideas and then they booted him and then he restarted them over.
They were already in the works.
But again, these were.
He just knew
YouTube,
similar ideas to
YouTube
compete with.
And shit, so I don't
yeah,
remember.
he just basically knew what to do to compete with them, and it didn't work for a while. In fact, DreamWorks failed and failed and failed until Shrek. Shrek was their first big hit. Yeah, the only other modest hit they had was the Prince of Egypt. And that was the first time they kind of gave Disney a run for their money, but that was barely the hit on the same level as Shrek was. Like Shrek actually made Disney money, right? Like that was a huge fucking hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I'm not going to badmouth the movie because I really don't remember too much about the movie, either one. It's not like I have nothing really badmouth about it. It just wasn't.
But I feel like you're the horror guy, for the most part.
I mean,
so then this is like a full on, like parodying Disney cartoon, essentially, the story. And Cameron Diaz, depends on how you feel with that and whatnot too, and information there. I can see that. It's rewatching it again. I love the soundtrack for it, the way they use it. I mean, I feel like they forever entwined Smash Mouth to Shrek.
Which is sad because that's not even where it was originally from.
Right? I know. I remember it prior to that. I remember the days before that. But
it was actually in another movie originally. The music video for it is actually from that movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, I can see.
Was that?
You guys don't remember?
It's Mystery Man. Was it Mystery? Oh yes, right. It's Mystery Man.
That's one I've only seen like on TV as well, and I need to rewatch to get the whole movie.
I was going to say. Can't Hardly Wait because it's in Can't Hardly Wait as well.
Yeah, I think it's in there, but the new song that they did for Can't Hardly Wait was Can't Get Enough of You Baby, I think.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Can't Get Enough of You Baby. Yeah.
But yeah, no, they reused All Star for Shrek, and it was.
That's what did.
Wait, I feel like just some songs will stick more with some movies compared to others.
It did for some reason. It just
Because they reused it. Like, of course, they used tons of songs and lots of things, but which ones do they stand out even more? I don't even know. Some just are recognized.
It just is weirder for me when it's
recognized as that's a movie song. Great.
Well, that's the thing for me is like it's weirder for me, especially somebody who's a soundtrack guy. Like people are like, "Oh, that's the Shrek song." It's like, well, yeah, but it originally was a Mystery Man song.
Yeah.
Any other time, like if somebody goes. Now, if somebody goes, "Build Me Up Buttercup," that's the Something About Mary song. I'll be like, yeah. Because even though that song was around for 20 years before Something About Mary, it was never really associated with any movie before that. You kind of have the same thing with Walk Like a Man. Yeah, well, the Mallrats version is a different version of the song. But like with Walk Like a Man, now that's been used in hundreds of movies now. It's like, and what movie do you associate it with exactly? Well, personally... Most of all, I do with Heart and Souls.
That's what I was about to say. Heart and Soul. That's where I associate it from. Yes.
But it's been in a lot of movies, and it's but it didn't originate with a movie as opposed to some that do, and that's where it's kind of like weird for me sometimes to be like, oh yeah, it comes from this movie. It's like, well, yeah, but
yeah, it does, but yeah. As far as Chris Farley doing the voice of Shrek, I do not think that would have been a breakout role. I know he
was already broke out.
Yeah, he was already broke out, and plus, I don't think he worked because you can go online, you can see the clip animated with his voice.
I think it would have been a much different Shrek. Yes,
I feel like he'd be a lot more hyper than.
Actually, no, he was a bit more reserved and depressed.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, it's online.
That would have been interesting to see. Just because I guess I haven't seen. I need to see more of Chris Farley because in my head,
he does have
in my head. I remember him more as the oh, I'm the guy that's in the fan down by the river.
He does have those moments, but that's where his anger is different than Mike's. And I'm not saying Mike's better than him or would have been better than him or one way or the other. We don't know now because we never got to see. Yeah, I hear Walk. Right. Exactly. I remember that movie too.
I remember that. I was just thinking about
that was why I was bringing it up. I was going to say you got the movie Walk Like a Man where it's in there too, but
I was wanting to watch the Walk Like a Man and that Bronson Pinchot movie with Dan from Night Court. Oh, I can't think of the name all of a sudden.
Oh, Second Sight.
Second Sight.
I have the stupid only DVD release of Walk Like a Man. It is a wretched.
Oh man.
It's a MOD disc from MGM from years ago.
One of those, yeah.
And it's like a scan off of a VHS tape or something. It is horrible.
Oh man.
I don't know what the hell the deal is with that movie, but it's like it feels like a forgotten film. Very few people even know about it. Like,
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
It's Howie Mandel. I know you know who Howie Mandel is now, but back then most people didn't know who he was.
Mhm.
And Kim Cattrall's in it, and who else is in it? I'm trying to remember who the main chick was.
Lloyd, it says.
Christopher Lloyd's in it, but I'm trying to remember who plays the main chick in it. It was it not Mindy? Was it Mindy? No.
Let's see.
I'm trying to remember who the main chick in it. It's not Mindy, but it's a chick who reminds me of Mindy from Mork and Mindy. Anyway, and it's about this long lost brother of this family that gets discovered because he was lost in the woods and he was raised by wolves. Amy Steele, that's who it was. Yes, from Friday the 13th. Yeah.
Yeah, from part 2.
Yep, that's who it was. Anyway, so like, yeah, it's pretty funny because obviously Howie Mandel plays the boy raised by wolves.
Yeah. it's like for some reason I used to watch that movie and Second Sight or whatever you call it. I still can't believe I can't remember the name. I used to like
it's called Second Sight.
Movie. Yeah, Second Sight. Yeah, I used to double feature those movies for some reason. I don't know.
I used to have them both on VHS, man. Yeah, back in the day.
Is a Second Sight on Blu-ray or DVD?
I think it may have gotten a DVD release, but don't quote me on that one. It's another one that's been kind of just forgotten to the annals of time.
I wish those movies would be.
It was one of the only Bronson Pinchot movies because he hasn't done a lot of movies. Like, that's the thing.
I always liked those movies. I mean, because I remember Bronson from Perfect Strangers, and then that was like my first experience with Howie Mandel, and then I found out, so the guy that plays the wolf is the voice of Gizmo, and he's also Bobby's World.
Bobby's World.
Yeah, it's like all that when you learn to connect all that as a kid, it's like awesome.
I remember hearing him do Bobby way before Bobby's World.
Yeah,
funny
like
shit.
you put the balloon, the hand.
It's my party, and I'll cry if I want you.
Yep.
I ruined the joke because the setup is, my mommy tried to teach me to go to the party, and I said, no, mommy, I don't want to. And she says, why? And I said, because it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to.
It sounds like.
Why do you cry every time you go to the potty? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Sounds like a slightly high pitched Gollum.
It kind of is, basically. It's just a little kid.
Yep.
I'm going to sing you to sleep. And I said, no, mommy, don't do that. She said, why? And I said, because I'm scared of your singing.
Yeah, but we got sidetracked from Shrek there, though. But
yeah, we did. Yeah, but wow, yeah. Howie Mandel would have been a funny Shrek, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it would have been.
That's interesting. But no, I mean, I feel like Shrek was it's a simple enough story. It's one that I feel like all ages can kind of watch it and get different things out of it. I remember they played it in the psychology class because it was like, they're like, you guys saw this when you were kids, right? Well, all right, watch it now. And then it's like, oh, it's a little different, of course. The obvious different innuendos and whatnot that he's compensating for something. And they go, oh, look, he's short. That's the main joke. But adult joke, he's got a little peen, of course.
He got a little dinger.
Like, oh, fun movie. There you go.
Yeah, I shared in the background. Walmart actually has the Blu-ray set for $25.
Okay,
nice. There you go.
I'll save that link. Yeah, sweet.
There you go.
Have them ship it right to your store if they don't have it in stock.
Yep.
Sweet.
And so let's go on to Tom. What do you got for your first pick of the night?
Oh boy, should I go with
whatever one you want to go
with? Let's do that first. So I talked about King Kong 1976 before because I brought on this version here. Well, since then I actually also got the Steelbook. I haven't opened up yet, but it has a much better picture on it, as you can see.
Oh yeah, I like that better than the one.
Yeah.
The other one. Yeah.
Yeah. But this time out, what I'm talking about is the TV cut, which was actually first presented on here.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be the Stupid Fuck Shout Factory edition. And then also just for shits and giggles, I brought my Umbrella release. I believe Japanese or Chinese release. I think it's Japanese. And then this, I think, is an Italian release of the movie. It has more releases than this. And I swear I still had the DVD here somewhere, but I couldn't find it. Yeah, this is one of those movies where I think I have more copies of it than any. Plus, Paramount's coming out with their own version of the 4K here in a few weeks. But no, I actually had to watch the TV cut because we talked about it last. It's funny that Geary popped up in here because that's what I watched it for. TV cut for the first time in years. There you go, baby.
There's a bad thing about this, though. When I bought it, I didn't realize this. If I can get it out.
Oh, that's fixable.
Yeah, I know, but it
That's
just got
easily
pissed me off when I
fixable.
bought it.
That's easily fixable.
But yeah, this is the original release here. But go ahead.
Just find some shit tape you don't like and take the cover off of there, or just replace the whole reel into the new other tape, depending on how complicated it is to put together. But anyway, yeah, no. So I watched the TV cut, which is something I had not seen probably since I was a lot younger than I am now. And it's funny I've been, because the TV cut they have here, they scanned. It's from its own 35 millimeter print. That was probably made back in 78 or 79, whenever it was getting made up for the TV cut.
Yeah.
And then the 4K scan I also have as well on Blu-ray with the Studio Canal cut, or 4K release, I mean.
Right.
What I'm doing is taking the better quality scenes and audio from the rescan and cutting them with the TV cut as I go along. And it's been a hell of an endeavor, because the TV cut also only has mono sound for some reason, and it's garbage. And it's like a fucked up soundtrack on top of it.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of hard to do, and I can see why Shout just didn't do that themselves, because of the things I just said. And I also noticed that they reuse a lot of shots twice.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and it's because, and that's why they probably have the thing in front saying that, you'll see things
twice
where people aren't talking or whatever. I don't think they mentioned that, though. That's the weird thing. But yeah, because I think in one shot they would use it from one side of the frame, and then one from the other side of the frame, because it would have been full frame. Because that's the thing, is even on their cover, because that's typical Shout Factory fashion for you. They fuck something up on the cover.
Yeah.
They claim that the theatrical or the TV cut is only in is a standard definition or whatever with a new 2K can. No, they got that right. But where did it? Oh, it's down here at the bottom, though. They have that it's only in 4:3. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, I've yet to watch the TV cut on my Shout Factory disc. I watched the other one.
No, but it basically, there's a few shots that are used more than once, so they could just pad out some timing. But overall, there's probably a good handful of actual segments and scenes that are completely deleted out of the other version. One of which is where you see how Jeff Bridges' character gets the uniform in the bar. That's very early on in the movie. You get some extra stuff with Kong and some stuff on the boat on the way over there. There's a lot of good stuff in there. It is cool to see it again in this 3-hour cut after all these years. Now, this also has the deletions. So any of the swear words and boobs are cut out, for instance.
No,
and some of the more violent. That's another reason why I want to kind of put together an alternate. Yep. Yeah, I know, it's funny because that's right on the back.
No, right on the back.
Main shots cut out of the movie right there.
Too risque. Too risque.
A little too risque. But yeah, that's another reason why I want to kind of put my own cut together. Now, it'll probably take me a long time, and the sound will probably take me even longer than the actual physical cutting of the movie. But overall, though, it's a fun to have as a nice also rand or whatever you want to call it. Do I feel like it's the superior version of the film? Meh. I mean, there's some bits in there that I wish were in the theatrical cut, but obviously you don't need them because I've seen the theatrical cut for 20 years. But to answer RJ Godzilla's question in the chat,
to show you that.
Maybe when I get done with my ultimate cut, I'll say that's the best version because it'll have all the good stuff. Because I've actually deleted out like a minute of just reused footage already. So if that tells you anything, so they were just padding, and that, for those who don't know what the hell they did that for, well, especially for somebody like Rook who has no idea what we're talking about. Back in the day when they would show these movies on TV, we talked about before where they would have to add some scenes once in a while to pad them out to run with the TV time, because if the movie was just under 95 minutes, they would have
wouldn't air it.
Well, no, they would just have to add some extra scenes to make it 95 minutes, for instance. If they were showing it for 2.5 hours, they'd have to add a few extra scenes to add, to add that, to make, and so on and so forth. And the thing with Dino De Laurentiis, well, he got smart. He's like, oh, well, if I make this long enough, they'll show it over 2 nights and I make twice the money.
Yeah.
So he would pad his movies out. So he would have 2-night versions. He had 2-night versions of Dune, of this, just about every one of his movies he had, except for, maybe Conan might be the only other exception, I think. But so he would do that all the time just so he could pad them out and show them in 2 nights. Warner Brothers did it with Superman. but I think that was more the Selkines doing that. So they were just taking a book out of Dino De Laurentiis's, or taking a page out of his book. I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it showed it half one night, half the other night. And they just padded it to hell. But there's a lot of cool scenes. In fact, there's a scene that the first image people ever saw of King Kong from this movie was cut out of the movie. It was a scene where King Kong picks up a car and throws it into a building. Well, that scene's in this version. See, so that's part of the coolness of having it in actually in such a good version. That's one thing I hate giving Shout Factory credit for, but they managed to do that much at least right.
Isn't the TV cut supposed to be on some of the other 4K discs coming or something?
It is. It's all on on all of them so far. I'm assuming Paramount will do the same thing. My only complaint with the Studio Canal version is they put a bunch of DNR on it.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know why. But you can tell, especially in like the scene where they're coming up to the island on the boat with all the fog. Like all the detail in the fog has been completely like removed in the Studio Canal version of it. So they clearly put some kind of DNR over it. Yeah, that sucks.
But that's what I love about like physical media and stuff like that, is like we can get these TV cuts that a lot of us remember, or just think about, like, because when you say that, when you think about it, like, oh, they had 2-night events. I remember watching, like, I think I even remember watching Empire Strikes Back maybe for 2 nights or something like that. Like the continuation continues now. I remember those, or some movie, I can't remember, some kind of sci-fi movie I remember watching for 2 nights. But I love that they do that, and I have not watched that TV cut yet on my disc because I have that set too. But it's interesting, and that was always been my King Kong, my first experience, like you say, with King Kong. So I've always enjoyed that movie, and it's interesting to have those. And Rook, I do recommend you give it a watch if you would interested in a different version of Kong than that maybe you've seen. So
yeah, no problem. I'm up for it. I've seen the Peter Jackson and the Kong Skull Island and stuff.
So you haven't seen this one. This is the only one you really haven't seen. So this one actually isn't a straight remake of the original film, unlike the Peter Jackson one. This one actually takes place in 1976. The whole reason they're going over there is satellite come across the island, and Petrox is a oil company that's represented by Charles Grodin in the film. And he wants to get over there and tap that oil before anybody else does. So that's kind of the setup this time out. As from there on out, it almost pretty much plays the same way, except for the Ann Darrow character, who's called Dwan in this one, played by Jessica Lange. She gets found lost at sea, so like she's not on the voyage to begin with. But
yeah. And is it like instead of the Empire State Building, doesn't he climb something else in
the Twin Towers? Well, the thing is long before the movie came out. I mean, they rushed it through production, but I can't remember the guy. Too bad Geary's not here because he knows the guy's name. But the guy who did he did like a series of like 4 posters to show the movie, and this is one of them. And Dino saw this poster, even though Kong is completely out of scale with everything else.
Yeah.
Right. Like, don't even get me started on that. And he saw him, this walking across the Twin Towers thing. And Dino's like, that's it. We're going to have the Twin Towers at the end, not to the Empire State Building. So that changed the ending. Because in the original script, it was the Empire State Building. But,
nah.
Yeah, and poor Jessica Lange, after this movie, she actually took 3 years off of acting because she was so trashed by the critics, and she took like acting lessons and shit like that. Yeah. I don't think she did that bad of a job. The only person who gave her a good review was Roger Ebert.
I didn't think she did that. I mean,
especially gave the movie a good review.
Wait. She took criticism and then tried to improve.
Yeah. And I think she's won a couple Oscars.
That's almost insane these days. You're supposed to whine about it on Twitter and be like,
honestly, I think her naivety,
people are toxic.
To me, her naive behavior adds to the character. I think
it works.
Overly bashed.
I don't have no problems with her. I always liked her character. I always thought she did great. Plus, she pops out a boob, so I was pleasantly happy. Yeah, 2 of them. I was always happy. I never really had complaints about her. So I mean, that's how I always remember it. Like, oh, Jessica Lange. That's where that's my first go-to movie when I think about her. So
I have noticed more political stuff in the movie in the last few years, but that's just because the last few years have made me more sensitive to it. But again, this also just goes to show you could do a film with political undertones to it, and it'd still be entertaining, right? Like,
I mean, it's a different type of political undertones because it's like it wasn't like in your face with it, but if you knew, you knew. You know, like today it's like in your face all the time. But yes, I
mean, there's a slight
like,
feminist undertone to this movie. There's definitely like the animal rights / environmentalist kind of bend to it, but it's not nearly in your face as something today would be.
Yeah, exactly.
And as far as fan theories go, Rook, this one has one of the more famous ones that I do buy into, and that is, have you seen The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
Okay, you know the dude played by Jeff Bridges?
Yeah.
Okay, the theory is that his character in that is Jack.
I haven't heard this one. I've not.
He's seen so much shit that's why he's the dude now. He just went to this point where
he's just so messed up.
And the rug that tied the room together is what was left of Kong.
I like that theory. I'm sad for Kong, but I did like that theory.
But it did tie the room together.
It did tie the room together, man. I mean,
and then the better yet is you got John Goodman in there too.
Yeah, you do. From Kong Skull Island.
Maybe he didn't die on Skull Island.
Maybe. Some of that world, what do they call it? Where they go into Kong. What is that? Where they go into the world, Earth? The
Hollow Earth.
The Hollow, maybe time traveled somehow to the Hollow Earth or something through universes. Or whatever.
Did you see Monarch? That's kind of how they explain the whole.
That's what I was
thing.
I mean,
because I was like, I didn't even think about that till I'm in the middle of the movie because they keep bringing in or the show and they keep bringing up Kurt Russell's age. And they're like, wouldn't he be like in his 90s? And they're like, yeah, he looks pretty good for a guy in his 90s. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, he would be in like his 90s. Yeah. And then you find out later on it's because he was actually, spoilers, he was in Hollow Earth for like 10, 20 years or whatever it is. I can't remember now, but like, yeah. Because time down there doesn't work the same way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what went wrong with Kong 2005? I don't know. Maybe
nothing as far as I'm concerned. There's some people who in recent years. Oh, hey, Gilk man, how you doing?
What's up, Gilk man?
What's up, the Gilkinator?
There's some people in recent years who've wanted to shit on it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Most of the ire goes towards Jack Black. Speaking of like one actor being singled out.
I always thought
what do they hate about him?
Otherwise, most people just say it's so pretentious and overbloated, and I just say, well, quit watching the director's cut.
With I mean, I guess I would say it's a little excessive maybe to have him fight 3 T-Rexes while holding on to the girl, but that's one of those. That's one of those
you want to see in a kaiju movie, man.
Let me finish. But that's what makes it fucking cool. Like what do you? It's like, oh, you got 1 T-Rex, 2, 3, and he's got to hold the chick the whole time, trying to make sure she don't get eaten. Like that's that's like I raise you 3 T-Rexes in this situation. Top that bitch. It's like
honestly, I think it's the parts more like where they're like ice skating together. I think that's. I mean that some of that probably could have been scaled back, but I don't really have a problem with.
I need to rewatch again. That's one I've only seen like once. I need to rewatch.
To me, Kong has the most character he has ever had in any movie, and it is kind of this perfect cross. Because the thing is, you watch the original Kong, and don't get me wrong, I love the original Kong is my favorite one.
One of my favorite. How many Kong movies are there? So I'm not.
As far as telling this specific story, technically 4 if you count the stupid cartoon musical.
Okay, so like the Kong Skull Island is not in that category because it's not retelling the
not
story,
really
essentially.
It's the only part you could argue is that it's kind of loosely based on the idea that these people find Skull Island and they're going to see it.
Right, I'm just clarifying the.
And they take Kong off, but they don't take him off in any form that we see in the film, right? He wasn't brought to the public and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it in terms of the original story.
There's 3 acts to a Kong story, basically, and that's the way I look at it. The first act is getting to the island. The second act is being on the island. The third act is going back to New York. Kong Skull Island is like 1.5 of those acts.
Well, I figure Skull Island's not trying to be that, which is
not really.
Yeah, well, because it's trying to be in its little universe and have a.
It's its own thing, which is great. It's kind of a mix between the Toho Kong and the original Kong, but it's kind of like it. The cool thing I like about Skull Island Kong is you can definitely tell they were emulating and trying to make their Kong look like the Kong from this movie. Because this is a very unique Kong, because this is the only Kong other than Skull Island Kong and the Toho Kong that spends most of its time on its hind legs instead of walking on both hands and feet at the same time. Because the original Kong does walk quadrupedally most of the time, and same thing with, obviously the Jackson Kong is almost. And that's something some people griped about too, is that his version was almost too much of a gorilla and not a Kong creature, because Kong is always kind of supposed to be a missing link kind of creature. Like he's not quite a gorilla, but he's not man at all, so he's kind of somewhere in between. Yeah. And that's always been the concept. And the only one that kind of deviated from that most of all would have been the Peter Jackson Kong. And then you got like Rick Baker, who was in the costume and designed the costume for the 76 film, who was actually against making Kong look that way. He wanted to make Kong look more like a real gorilla.
Right.
And that's where he kind of says, if I had my druthers, have you seen the newer version? Well, it's call it newer now, but it's 20 fucking years old. The newer version of Mighty Joe Young.
I've seen Mighty Joe Young. I didn't know there was other versions of Mighty Joe Young.
Okay, you've seen the Disney one with Bill Paxton.
I've seen the Disney one. Yeah.
Okay, Rick Baker did Mighty Joe Young for that movie. He's only CGI in like 4 shots in that entire movie, or 4 scenes maybe. Otherwise, it's a costume the entire time, and that is what Rick Baker wanted to do for Kong, but they wouldn't let him. So yeah.
So do they want to be kind of like almost a Sasquatch? Like I guess if he's supposed to
it's kind of like a Sasquatch, but more of a monkey or ape at the same time. It's still kind of an ape, but not quite.
Everything I've seen of any design with Kong seems to be gorilla. Yeah, like
it is, but if you look at them more closely, they're not. Like the original Kong, he's kind of a cross, more leaning towards the standard gorilla, but there's still elements and things about him that are a bit more human than they are gorilla in certain aspects. You get to the 76 Kong, well, he looks almost like a guy in an ape suit. Well, that's part of the problem. Yeah. they remedied that a little bit in the sequel, King Kong Lives, which I've talked about before here, because they actually had the longer arms on Kong, and he does walk quadrupedally a little bit more in that movie. But in this movie, I don't think he does once. And the whole time he's up on his hind legs the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Kong Skull Island. Like the way he stands, the way he looks, it is like they directly took the design of Kong from Rick Baker's 76 Kong.
Well,
and you can tell in that movie that those guys were fans of that film.
Well, I feel like if you were to ask me why that's the case, like, like why would this creature like choose to be walking on his hind legs more often? I feel like it's the amount of distance across the island. Like if the whole island is pretty much his sandbox, like traveling wise, you technically
gorillas can move faster.
I assume they cover more on their hind legs, but I don't know.
Gorillas.
I'm not. I shouldn't have said it like that. I mean, like people.
Physically, gorillas don't tend
with
to
evolution.
like
I meant like with evolution. Like I assume we went from gorilla shape to this shape for going over longer distances. Was more.
Well, it depends on who you want. Not to dive too deep into that. It depends on who you want to believe on that, but.
But I'd say I've seen with me, I don't know what to believe is the fact these days. I have no idea. There's so many things. Somebody said that like, no, if we actually went kind of backwards where some things, I don't fucking know anymore. I don't know.
No, but like if you actually physically look at an ape, like a gorilla, especially, like they are not built to walk on their hind legs for very long. They generally only do just to reach stuff
they can
and or intimidate.
Yeah,
or intimidate somebody. Otherwise, they're always walking on both.
I meant to be more like it's saying that it was like with evolution says that
but that's kind of what Kong is. Yes, he's supposed to be like an evolved creature, right? Like he's from this era where we had huge beasts, so at one time his ancestors probably were more ape like than he is in whatever, depending on which version you're talking about, to where like the Peter Jackson Kong is literally just an overgrown ape. Same thing with Mighty Joe Young for that matter too. I mean, really in the both versions, that's all he is just an overgrown ape. There's nothing really special about him other than that.
Yeah,
I gotcha. You think that future Kong movies, if they, I guess I don't know how they do them specifically outside.
I have an idea for a new one. I think you could remake Kong, modernize it a bit, but you can't really set it in the modern day just because technology has advanced so far that if there was a Skull Island, that's what I like about the Kong Skull Island version is that they kind of give you the idea that you got a ticking time clock because he's like, as soon as we found out about this, we're only a few hours behind the Ruskies finding out about this, right? So like in the day and age of
right.
satellites and computers and internet,
Yeah,
and
I figured that was
kind
kind
of
of the point. Was that on Skull Island that you're like it's obscured, it's there, it's difficult to get to with technology, and only on Skull Island are you at the disadvantage. If you take them out of Skull Island, they're not a big deal. Like
what I would do is I would set it in like 1985-ish, and I would have similar setup.
Team up with Marty McFly.
No, but basically just because of the technological wise, it would be one of the last times that they could possibly accidentally just stumble upon a small island in the middle of the ocean
Before the world got way too tech savvy.
And then the whole idea I would have though would that a couple of archaeologists and stuff like that are trying to fund an expedition to go to this island because they feel that it's a good place where there's probably a bunch of fossils and other things that they can study that have not been touched by man or disturbed by modern things. So they're thinking it might be a hotbed for fossils. And not only that, there might even be plants and other things still growing there that don't grow elsewhere, right? Like they have this theory. And so they think they're trying to find funding. So you get like an Elon Musk type of guy, which would be the Carl Denham role. And then he would come on board as to fund the expedition, right? So I'd actually swap his character instead of him being broken looking for money. It's the other way around. He has the money and he's funding it. And he's like this, like I said, like an Elon Musk type where he wants to go get his boots dirty, right? Because part of his deal will be, okay, I'll fund this for you kids, but I want to go.
Sounds like James Cameron.
And then basically from there, the movie plays out exactly the same as the original film. They get to the island. They find out not only is there not only is there's no fossils, but there's dinosaurs still alive and Kong. And then one of the girls who happens to be one of the archaeologists, being the Ann Darrow role, she would get kidnapped. The only thing that sucks is I would love to have the Jack role be like a survivalist that they hire, but they already did that in the Kong 76 role. So I figured I'll just have to have him be another scientist or something. But you'd still have to have like a mercenary group or something with him anyway, because they would have to be prepared. Because that's the other thing. I like the 76 Kong or the Kong Skull Island Kong. That did to me what I wanted to do for so long, and that is update the 76 version more so than try to remake the original. Right? It's like you're playing with this idea that it's still in the modern time. You would still bring him back to New York. And I probably wouldn't have him. The Empire State Building still isn't the tallest building anymore. So I definitely would have him.
Now they take him to Dubai.
Yeah, unfortunately they would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot like the Meg in a way to our Giant Godzilla, but like that's the setup for these kind of movies. But I'm like, to me, that's the only way I think you could modernize and really remake Kong, because otherwise you get past that 70s and 80s point. There's no way you can because we got satellites that take pictures and images and shit now.
On what makes sense. Like you can't be like, oh, we time traveled some Spartan warriors to the modern day. Oh no, well shoot them. Okay.
Honestly, honestly, the modern world we live in has stifled creativity in a way that those movies, and like you can no longer write a scenario where somebody's trapped here, but then they got their cell phone. They can just use their cell phone. Oh shit! How do I get them? And then they left their cell phone back in the car, so that's how they. And it's like, oh, that just sounds so stupid.
It's like, I'd say, I mean, only if you place it in the modern day, of course.
Well, even then, in my version, and this is a version I've had in my head before Skull Island, mind you guys. That's my point, because I've had to alter things because of that movie. Like one of the reasons Denham gets the idea to bring back Kong in my version is all their equipment gets destroyed. So they're like, now how are we going to tell everybody about this? Or how are we going to get to prove this shit? And he's like, I know how we'll prove it. We'll take him with us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And of course he had the equipment on board and they didn't know about it. And that causes them to get in an argument about it all, but it doesn't matter. Like my whole point is you could still make it work, but you'd still have to set it now back in at least like the 80s to even make it believable, probably.
Right.
I was gonna ask you another question, but I don't know if you want to move on to the next thing.
No, go ahead. You can go ahead.
What is it?
We don't have a lot tonight, so.
What do you think it is about the idea of Kong and like that whole story and big gorillas? I guess. What do you think about that that interests so many people? Because you start to do a pitch with gorilla, people are mostly seem to be down for it, whatever it is. Like why? I just find that interesting. Whether it's this type of thing or.
If you remember
Planet of the Apes and other stuff, like there's always like
apes have always, I think, been interesting to humans because they're probably the closest thing on Earth to us besides us, and we can tell that just by looking at them, right? You don't have to go through any genealogy shit or anything like that, or even be a biologist to say, look, an ape looks a lot like a human, They have a lot of the similar traits. So there's that part of it. We empathize with apes because of that, right? Like it's very easy to feel sorry or care for or see or understand the emotion that an ape is evoking more so than say a dog, right? Like we understand when a dog is in distress. We understand when
their
a dog
facial
is
features
barking.
are closer to ours. Their body language
exactly,
is closer to ours. Stuff like that.
It's totally different. Like we can see in their, in the way they react.
Telling
to things
Coco that its cat died. It's like,
yeah,
oh man, it knows, and it knows.
And the fact that, like they can even learn things like sign language and stuff like that really speaks to the fact that people have come to, and that's the big difference between the original Kong and Kong 76 is we had learned so much more about apes than we had learned then. And that's kind of taken back to the original film. Ernest P. Schoedsack and not Willis O'Brien, he's the guy who did the effects, but the other guy, I just forgot his name. The guys that did the original film, like they went out and did this shit, right? Like that was kind of the whole thing I was explaining to you. So like they were just basically making a dramatic version amped up of what they were just doing in real life. And, Kong was just a stand-in for whatever big game that they would be looking for. And if you watch the movie now, you kind of feel that way. What they didn't expect and what was that the audience fell in love with Kong. Because if you watch the movie, it's not made that way. It's not set up in a way where you're supposed to sympathize with Kong at all. But you do just because he's such a great realized character.
I assume he's supposed to be just like a force of nature, but then
kind of. But he has such a they just looked at him as an animal when they made it. They didn't really think that the audience realized that the audience was going to be taken in by this story so well. And I think they kind of realized that by the sequel because Carl Denham is the character you kind of see that through. Because in the first film, he does all the wrong things and doesn't have to pay for it. Now, normally in storytelling, that's a big no-no, right? Like that's like storytelling 101. And that's how when you're going to most movies, no matter how much you're following this certain characters, no matter how much you like them, if they do certain bad things, they're not going to make it to the end of the movie, right? That's just a given.
Yeah.
It's like no matter how much you like Jake ended up accidentally killing somebody in real one, so he's going to die by the end of the movie. It's just a given.
Mice and men.
Exactly, right? Like, I mean, and Kong was kind of the same way. The way they looked at it, this motherfucker was rampaging, killing people, eating people. But the way the audience was seeing it is like they thought that creature was real, right? They'd never seen anything like that before. And you also got to understand when King Kong had come out, that was a type of movie they had never, ever, ever seen. Like it was our own modern Beauty and the Beast, right? Like it was just different. It was. I know now we look at it.
It's Kong like one of the first kaiju, essentially, or like one of the first.
Yeah, he is the first kaiju, larger. But it's more than that, Rook. It's like this is the first time that the audience looked at an inanimate object and they actually cried at the end of the movie because Kong died.
Because Beauty killed the Beast.
And yes. In the sequel, they actually have Denham want to pay for his sins, right? So I think that the makers realized that between films that, oh shit, this character, people like him. People liked Kong.
Yeah.
Like he didn't do anything wrong, really. No. I mean, if you step back and you look, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just doing what Kong would do.
Yeah,
right?
he was placed in a situation that he had no idea what he was doing. And that's the thing. The audience will always tell you what works and what doesn't work, or what you thought wouldn't work. The audience will tell you how they actually feel about it. And when you see it, you just see like you see something there that you see this being this character, and he's in a situation that, if you were taken out of where you lived and placed somewhere else and were forced to do this, you would probably act pretty like the bad guy yourself as well. So,
and I assume that's the more connective thing.
It's funny you mentioned Planet of the Apes because Planet of the Apes, funnily enough, and I don't know how many people have really noticed this, is basically King Kong in reverse, right? Yeah. Although Planet of the Apes plays more with racial tensions of the time. Like it's a man who can speak put in a world of apes.
Yeah, put in the world.
He shouldn't understand, but he does. Yeah, so there's that aspect of it too. But yeah, he's the odd guy out, whatever. But yeah, to right that wrong, of course, they made sure that the Charles Grodin character does die in the 76 movie, but that didn't happen in the original version. The test audience once again came to the conclusion that this guy didn't get what was coming to him. So they went back and reshot it real quick that he got stomped on by Kong.
That's funny.
Oh, we got a controversial opinion there. It's better than
I mean, it's Planet of the Apes has a lot of great qualities. So even though I haven't seen the other Kong, I
don't
know.
get to one without the other. I know there may not be
Yeah.
that much of a direct connection you may think outside of apes and similarities and kind of the reversal of the story of sorts. But I just think one hands off the baton to the other as far as the sci-fi goes.
In that kind of way, I'd say they're kind of on par then. Like just they're
Yeah,
equal. One came first and the other one is okay. There it is. Like
both very important in all both their status of film, science fiction stories, adventure stories, film history, like I said, but not just that, like the special effects part of the filming. So yeah, on all levels, they're very good comparisons. Yes.
Yeah.
And considering the timing of them and all that kind of stuff. Do I like King Kong Lives? Yes, but it's not a very good movie.
It's not a good movie, but I like it.
I like it for its batshit craziness. Yeah.
I personally, I love The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think that's a good movie. I think it's a great movie. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you asked that because that's the other movie. Because when most people know this already, so I apologize to those who do, but Rook probably doesn't. Yeah. Peter Jackson was going to make Kong before he made Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
He
wait, no. I remember in the director commentary he mentioned.
Okay, he may have mentioned.
He mentions briefly here or there.
So what happened was
the scene where they have the ghosts or whatever. He was like talking about he wanted to remember that spot so he can film King Kong thing there, but I don't think he's able to. But he's like, I was keeping in mind things for the King Kong movie while I was filming Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Because he was working on the Frighteners, and of course the movie came out and flopped, but that's one of the reasons why he didn't end up making Kong then. But that being said, they gave him an option between making King Kong or The Creature from the Black Lagoon. So that's why I said it was funny that he brought that up. And of course, he didn't really want to make The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and he actually turned down Kong at first. Then I don't know how long it took him to change his mind, but it festered in his mind long enough that he was afraid somebody else would do it. So and fuck it up.
I tell you though, I would have loved to see John Carpenter's Creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, just seeing that statue he has of that he had designed for his movie, I would have loved to have seen that. I mean, you could have got John Carpenter's Creature from the Black Lagoon, and you got Peter Jackson's King Kong. I mean, there you go. That's what you need, right?
I'll add that with what was it, Joe Johnston, or who was going to make Godzilla before?
Oh yeah, Joe Johnston.
I think it was Joe Johnston who's going to make Godzilla, because his Godzilla would have been better.
Yeah.
Although I wasn't a big fan of the idea of Godzilla fighting a creature so much, but the look would have been better because Stan Winston's Godzilla was a great combination of realistic meets the old school Toho compared to what we got. And there's pictures out there. You guys can find them. It's not.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, I believe it was actually supposed to be called Godzilla Kings of the Monsters at one point in time too. That one was.
I think so. Anybody who was going to fight the Griffin, it was called, but it was a monster that was a mutation of a whole. It was like an alien monster that took a bunch of predator traits and put them together. So it's like at the head of a lion and a bat wings and all this other shit. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Kong is great.
Yes, Kong is king. I guess we'll go
weeks away from another one, or months away anyway.
Oh yes.
With a new trailer that we got today.
Oh, I didn't watch the new trailer today. But I guess we'll go to me. Like I said, I didn't get much watched here lately. But this is a double feature DVD that I just found out MVD is releasing. And I was going to save these for a while because I was thinking about doing a video on them. But they are from Skinmax. It's called Skinmax Double Feature. Yes, these are basically the movies you would see at late night on Cinemax that have never, ever been released before.
Whoa.
They're being they're putting them out.
I may have watched a few of those 5 minutes at a time.
Myself as well. I watched Test Tube Teens from the year 2000 with Morgan Fairchild, by the way. I haven't watched this one yet.
He just
wrong fucking button again. But yeah, I've been buying a few of these. This is the ones I've been picking up here lately. There's nothing. These aren't really great scans in the movies. They're not good scans, really. They only contain the trailer for each movie. But these movies themselves, like I said, some of them have never, ever had a physical release, ever. Some have had VHS releases. Maybe a couple have had DVD releases in the past, but for the most part, these have never been released. And these, like I said, they're called Skinmax because they're the movies that you see on Skinmax, as we call it. But I watched the test tube teens from the year 2000. That would crack me up. Plus, the plot of the movie is actually scary accurate. The movie takes place. Starts off in the future, 2000, I believe. Actually, I believe it's a little later than 2000. I just called 2000. I think it might be like 2010, maybe I want to say. But anyways, it's about these kids. Well, they're not really kids. They're full-grown people, but they're supposed to be teenagers. They're in this class, and the teacher tells them that everything is propaganda. Everything he teaches them is corporate propaganda because their government of America and other governments have been taken over by a giant corporation and is feeding, and they're making them tell them what to do. Sex has been outlawed. The only way a person is born is through a test tube now. And the woman who founded the company was a feminist who saw no credence in love and being with a man or anything. So all that was outlawed. So the teacher gets arrested because he's a part of the resistance, and he tells the kids what to do. And they go down to the basement. There's a time machine. They get in the time machine. They go back to the 90s to try to get Morgan Fairchild, who is the feminist woman who causes the world to become what it is. They try to get her laid. So that way they can, so they can change
that bitch laid, man.
So you get her, and then they can save the future.
As you're describing the story, I was thinking of like 10 different ways that this could go, and it's just, oh nope, okay, and then you go back in time, and then what? Got to get her laid.
They go back in time to get her laid to she runs an all-girls school, so they go undercover. These two guys and the girl that was with them go undercover in all-girls school. There's boobs. Plenty of boobs. There's sex scenes. There's all that stuff that you would see. Morgan Fairchild, unfortunately, does not do any nudes in this movie, sadly. I wish she did, but she does not. Yeah, so the whole, and then they also have this guy, as you can see here on the back with the sunglasses. He's essentially the Terminator. He's sent after them to kill them. He sent back in time to kill them. And then they actually reprogram him, spoilers alert, to bang Morgan Fairchild. That's how they
reprogram him to want to have sex.
Yes, they reprogram. It's actually a pretty fun movie. It's a pretty funny movie.
What year is it?
Oh, the movie was made in 1994.
Okay, cool.
94.
Okay.
But yeah, I've actually got more than this. I've got more than these, and they've been pretty decent prices. Like I said, the scans are not fantastic. They're definitely a little step above VHS. But a lot of these movies, like I said, are not streaming anywhere. They have never been released. Some have gotten a few DVD releases, and some of those DVD releases they have gotten are like $60 because they've never been released again. And but I don't know. I just saw these and I thought those were pretty neat to get because I'm pretty sure I probably caught a couple of these at night and trying to hide it from my parents and stuff when, oh, it's on. What is this? Is that a boob? Watching it. And then, so I don't know. This feels like this is why I like physical media. To me, this is why I like physical media. Yeah, it's not great. It's not the greatest quality, but these are something that you'll probably never see again. You'll probably never see these again. So I commend MVD for creating a new label, Skinmax, and putting these out. I wish they would put them out on Blu-ray personally, but I'll take the DVDs. And as far as I know, these DVDs are all region free. Every one of these DVDs are region free, so you can ship them around the world and watch them anywhere, as far as I know. So there you guys have it. Like I said, I did not watch Rebecca's Secret, which is essentially a movie where a detective suspects the fashion photographer Rebecca could be involved in the murder of her abusive husband from 1998. So yeah, I'll have to get in on that one. Yeah, so there you guys. That's one I watched, and so
sounds fun.
Yeah, but I watched. I just that test tube one that was so funny, and the beginning of the movie just sounded like what we're going through right now. like with the world taken over by a giant corporation, and then feminism kind of destroying a lot of things.
Yeah.
No offense to women. I mean, if you're a feminist, that's fine. It's just sometimes it gets you all get a little crazy.
Some feminists are not so fun. So,
yeah, some are not so fun. But there you go. Yes, this is why physical media preservation is important, the good and the bad. I agree with you. And this is VHS Massacre, Tom Seymour. He does the VHS Massacre documentaries. Great guy. Awesome guy. And speaking of which, Tom, the documentary we did about the importance of independent film is still going to happen. I'm still working on it. I'm trying to get it all together and edit it and get that done. So he will be in that documentary, and he helped me a little bit with it. So yeah. Yeah. I'm running behind on that documentary. It's like I said,
well, you shouldn't have got injured.
Yeah, I wasn't injured actually. I was in a lot of pain from my gallbladder, pancreas, and liver.
God, what movie did that to you?
It was no movie. It was a lot of stress, and some bad eating lately, which I haven't ate real bad lately in a long time. Fortunately, I started eating a little bad because of a lot of stress.
Right.
Yes. But there you guys have it. There's my first pick of the night. I hope you guys enjoy that. I do recommend, if you can find them, I would say get them if you're into that type of stuff. So I would get them. They're interesting to say the least.
Fun.
See, the funny thing I find myself is like, yeah, back in the day, I would watch those just to see the boobs, right? That's why you would watch them. You just would see the boobs. Now I'm watching these movies and actually watching them in the plot and trying to figure out what's going on.
I was about to say, just do a video just describing the plot, and then it's like, wait a minute, like, just what is this? Like, describe it slow, because that was a fun adventure of like, okay, it's gonna be this time. Okay, nope, they're going this way. No, okay, this time. Okay, nope, that way. No, okay, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, okay, why not?
Yeah,
why
not? Thank you, Peter Venkman, FanZcene. Yeah, it can be pain. But yeah, no, like that's why, like when if you hear, by the way, I just described Test Tube Teens from the year 2000. I described the plot more than anything. I didn't even really mention the boobs because I just thought the plot was very funny and interesting, and I had a fun time watching it. Of course, they're like, in the future, one of the guys finds an old Playboy magazine and goes to the centerfold, and he wants to bang her. And then when he time travels, hey, just so happens that model is in the old girls' school, and he bangs her. So
what are the odds?
What are the odds of that? So like there's stuff like that that's still in the movie, but like thinking about the plot, it's like they really like sort of prophesize some of the stuff that's going on in the world today in a weird way. So hey, what can you say?
What was it called again?
The Test Tube Teens from the year 2000.
Test Tube Teens from the year 2000. That sounds like the Power Ranger variant, tattooed alien teenagers from Beverly Hills or something. Just like what? Why'd you come up with that name?
Yeah, and I don't believe that is actually streaming anywhere. If it may be, I don't know, but I don't believe it is.
I wouldn't put it past somebody putting that on YouTube or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, probably a censored version. It sounds like, I don't know.
Maybe you never know. Maybe. But there you guys go. So let's move on to you, Rook, for your second and I guess final pick of the night.
Indeed. Angus had us watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We landed on that.
You do intend to bring on physical media.
I know.
Right?
And you know I have movies. I have movies, okay? I'll get to them soon, okay? Just while I'm writing, I'm not as focused on movies. I don't want to put one on that I'm going to be too distracted with while I'm trying to do other stuff. So in March, I'll have a shit ton. I'll bring in a shit ton more to make up for it. Don't worry. But we watched Guardians 3. I haven't seen a Marvel movie in a while. I forget what was the last one I watched before that. But, it wasn't anywhere near the shit tier level that most of them are these days, but still kind of iffy for me. It's like, it's okay. It's mostly about Rocket and about his origin, which I thought they do pretty well, I guess, considering his type of character. But ultimately, I walked away with it with not much to say about it or to talk about it, which compared to the other ones, there's a lot more I could usually say at the end of those two, or at least out of the second one. Guardians 3 is okay, but did you see it, Greg? I imagine
I have not seen Guardians
you have
3
not.
yet. I've been one. That's actually one I do. And the last Marvel
I'd
movie
say
I
it's
saw.
worth a watch, but I don't think it's one that you'll be like, I got to see that again. It's like you see it, have its story. Okay, it's all good. As far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any characters that were butchered. I don't think any characters were like butchered in this one. But what do you think, Tom?
I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit, but the Guardians films are probably my favorite of the Marvel films, so that helps. But
I love how it's
that
not
was
on
a fitting
Earth.
ending.
I love how it's mostly not on Earth. Most things not being Earth related in the Guardians films, because with the whole universe they make, they have most things be centered around Earth problems, and I like how Guardians literally tries to be away from it and gives any little things they do that are Earth based makes it more fun into the alien atmosphere and stuff. So I like that, and I think they do good. Guardians probably does it the best of them, where they have characters very much stand out amongst other things. Like regardless of how weird the plot kind of is, the character stuff usually stands out pretty well. That they succeed in every time, I think. Music's mostly good in it. There's maybe like one or two that kind of are like, it's not the best to me, but I like how they kind of integrate. I like how they integrate music into the story too. So it's not just music we're hearing. It's like this is music that they would be hearing based on whatever thing Quill has around to play music from. Which I kind of like that aspect, having music play that part into the movie and a character at the same time. It's pretty good, but
yeah, it's definitely the lesser of all three films, that's for sure. But
yeah, I mean, mostly because the villain, I feel like, man. But then again, I guess he's better than Ronan. Yeah, he's better than Ronan for sure. But it's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm gonna make things better, but you are.
He's one of the best villains in the Marvel universe so far.
I know, but it's like I think he's got. I guess that's why I'm harsh on him though, because he's got a lot of the stuff there that make for a good villain. But then it's like, but why is? I don't know. There's just a couple of things about it that I kind of wish they spent more time with him. I guess to get more of why he does some of this stuff. But Adam Warlock, the guy who plays Adam Warlock, has what I just call an ass face. I don't know why. He's always the guy that I see. You know, some girls have like bitch face. He has like resting ass face, and I don't know why. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, he's in the. Oh, get the fuck off the screen. I don't hate the guy. I think he's a good actor actually, but I just hate the look of his face. Like I've seen uglier people, but him, I'm just like, get off the screen. Get off, you know. So I liked that he was in all this gold makeup though that hides it, not all the way, but hides it a little bit, obscures it somewhat. I don't know if anybody else thought that with that guy.
I've been meaning to watch it. That is one I actually do want to see, because I was one of the ones that like both Guardians movies. I know a lot of people like to put a little crap on the second movie, but I thought the second movie was just as good as the first movie. Personally, I truly did. So I've been meaning to watch the third one. See how the third one,
you'll like it. So the reason why I feel like the third one is definitely worth a watch. Again, I mean, I kind of repeating what I just said, but like they don't destroy their characters. The characters come through unscathed. Like, you know, Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh, they shit all over the characters.
Well, I didn't even like
any Marvel movie. Any Marvel movie in the last couple of years, they pretty much shit on all their characters. They just drag them through the mud. Even if they're not shitting on them, they make them really shitty.
I didn't like what they did with Thor and Ragnarok. So. I liked the more. I liked the more serious Thor. Also, I thought Thor 2 was actually all right. I didn't think it was a bad movie like everybody else says it's a shitty movie.
I feel like the villains could have been better. Yeah, I feel like the villains could have been better. And if you had Natalie Portman out of it, I feel like he could have done better. Maybe, I don't know. Her addition wasn't great to it, but overall, it's still pretty good. Oh, nice.
There you go. I'd say there's the physical copy of the movie we're
somebody
talking
doesn't
about.
Have
one. Yeah. That's the thing. I with Marvel, I'll probably get Guardians. It could to have that. I haven't bought a Marvel movie since before Infinity War. I don't know. I don't remember the last one I bought essentially for Marvel, but I'm surprised you like Thor 2, because that one I rewatched some of them a while back, and I was like, okay, I know that everybody says that, like, you know, Iron Man 2 and Thor 2 and all these are like really bad, but I'm like, the stuff that's bad with them is like a normal bad a little bit, but it's still not really it's still pretty high. Like I would
Watch
say
a lot of
for
the Marvel
quality,
movies
like,
today, and you know what?
I don't
Those
know,
movies aren't
like-
so bad as the ones we're getting today.
but I'm not even trying to compare it to the today. I'm just in general trying to critique them. I'm like, yeah, most of the problems were some of the villains were pretty weak in some of the earlier Marvel stuff, some of the a little bit, but they still stand out as memorable. I think a little bit. The Dark World, yeah, I could have had some better ones though, because they're just like dark elves that are mad at Odin and shit. But
yeah, I mean,
as a
those were
so
probably-
with Ragnarok, I didn't like it initially at first how they
I
treated
don't
him,
like
but
Ragnarok.
but I like how in Infinity War they take him and make him. I feel like having him have that contrast of being how he was in the first two, and then in Ragnarok where he's a little more chill, and then in Infinity War where he is more serious. Like I feel like that was a good playthrough with it, having
think
him go that way.
I think Thor should be. I know we're deviated from Guardians here, but I think
That's fine.
Thor should be serious. I do. I do not like the joke they made him, and I think Ragnarok was like the first time I watched the Marvel movie, and I was like, I don't know if I want to continue much further with the Marvel universe now. And if it wasn't for Infinity War and how awesome I thought that was, I mean, say what you will, but that really kind of brought me back in a little bit. And then after Endgame, I was like, after Endgame, I was really kind of just done. Well, I was like, that's it. It's end right there.
Yep. But I agree. I mean, I guess some of the aspects I hated with Ragnarok was mostly it wasn't even how he treated situations. I feel like the Thor, the character, came out mostly okay, but it's mostly other characters that kind of ruin it for me. Like even Jeff Goldblum a little bit. You know, it's like he's okay, but not. I don't think he was great in that one. Who's the director again? Who's like playing as the Rock, as Krog or Korg or whatever the fuck the Rock guy's name is. He plays that. I hated that fucking character. He's, you know, like the whole planet blows up, and he's never mind. Like horrible tone clash with what should be taken seriously and then what isn't. Could have been more balanced in that. I feel like if that was better, their tone, I feel like that could have been taken differently. Like where maybe if he was acting out a bit for it, and then of course when you get to Infinity War, you know, he has like the heart to heart with Rocket. Like I feel like, you know, that'd be like, yeah, you know, I've been trying to suppress a little bit of my shit lately, trying to get it all together as my whole planet's gone. All these people, of course, that are going away, where he's, you know, trying to have some laughs a little, and then it's just, you know, back in his face again when he gets bitch smacked by Thanos and stuff. Yeah. Like, you know, like he can't joke around now. Like he's just give me the thing to kill.
So, that's what I liked about Infinity War, because they made Thor serious again. I like serious Thor.
Well, I do too, but that's why I'm saying
in Endgame they burned his ass.
I agree, but that's why I'm saying I think that having him in Ragnarok be a little less serious made it better for Infinity War when they bring him back to serious.
I think they could have just.
I like Ragnarok. I don't like Love and Thunder though.
I didn't like Ragnarok that much. I mean, I like Ragnarok better than some of the newer stuff, but I didn't really. I didn't dig it. I just didn't dig it.
Yeah, but my issue again was more of the tone of the other characters, like that they carry throughout the film compared to him. I feel like if their tone was balanced a little differently, that would have helped with the way he was acting, which is what I was trying to get at, where he's trying to be a little bit jokey because he's got all this shit he's dealing with, and he's like really, you know, he still hasn't fully accepted being the king yet. And then by the end of it, and when the planet blows up and he's got his people on the ship, that it's like, you know, he's like, you know, yeah, I'm not, you know, I gotta be serious here. I think that would have helped it a little bit, like solidify his growth to be where he is by Infinity War.
And I think what really helped Guardians of the Galaxy 3, from what I hear and what I know, is the fact that what helped and sort of hindered it is James Gunn came back. He got to finish it, so it was still sort of left over from the old guard, the old way that was supposed to be. So they weren't really going to be mistreated or broken down like Thor and some of the other characters we know, but also they had to sort of fit it into where the Marvel is now, the universe is wise, not these characters. So So that kind of hindered it in that aspect. I mean, I would say, I don't know, Tommy, maybe you can help me out with this. Would you say the movie could have been a lot bigger or better if maybe if they just ignored everything that went on in the MCU and just made a Guardians 3 outside of that?
I mean, they did it as much as they could, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, you have to address certain things that did happen in Infinity War and Endgame, which they do.
True, yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, it's pretty much Guardians 3. Like, those are the only other two movies you have to have seen besides the first two Guardians films to know what's going on here.
And
I feel like they could just make a Guardians like universe of their own. That it's like it's in the Marvel, but it's just fuck whatever they're doing.
Yeah, it's just the Guardians.
Because honestly, I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't make sense for this one for them to focus on the aftermath of the Thanos stuff. But like, I wouldn't mind one where they're going throughout the galaxy and seeing how different societies are reacting to. There's no more Thanos and his army, which seemed to have had a heavy placehold prior, and like that's gone. And it's like, so what does that affect with anything out here? And have them do it their way, that I think would be interesting compared to the Marvel way. And again, not on Earth, for fuck's sake. Thank you. Like, that's why I love the Guardians. They're not on Earth. Like, you get a little tired of this like huge universe stuff and everything cool happens only on Earth. Get the fuck off Earth.
That's why I'm curious. Honestly, I'm a Green Lantern fan. I always have been. And that's why I would be curious to see what they do with like a Green Lantern type movie, because most of the time they're really not on Earth. I mean, yes, we have 3 Green Lanterns from Earth, but they police the galaxies. So you would see it would be sort of like Guardians, except a little more serious.
What's Kilowog doing on planet Eltar or some shit? Like,
that's why I would be kind of interested in that. And as far as James Gunn's Superman, I am cautiously optimistic. I mean, I'm not going to buy into some of the stuff that's been said in here and there about it.
He's making a Superman?
Yeah, he's making Superman. Yeah. He's directing it, writing it. So
that could be good as long as.
What rock have you been under, dude?
Yeah,
I feel no. Sorry,
for some
reason,
now.
no. You jogged my memory. No, you're right. For some reason, because I was still thinking for some reason that Snyder is still making movies.
Oh God, no.
His recent stuff was.
He's
in
a
my
straight
head,
to streaming director now.
I was like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Okay, so yeah, he is making one. Okay, for some reason, again, yeah. Because then there's Suicide Squad. Was that also James Gunn?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, I was getting confused.
The Suicide Squad, yeah.
The Suicide Squad, exactly.
I'm gonna wait and see. Superman is my all-time favorite superhero.
I thought they were announcing a bunch of other fucking movies, weren't they? That they were trying to start with the DC ones. I thought they weren't doing a Superman movie.
No, they're doing Superman.
Thing.
They're doing Superman, Booster Gold, Batman, Supergirl.
Okay, yeah, I heard like Booster Gold and a couple other ones, and I was like, yeah, I don't really know them. So that's
this is the only thing that really truly worries me about the Superman movie, Superman and Friends. I want to see Superman, and I know there's we have a Green Lantern in it, played by Nathan Fillion. We have some other people, was it Mr. Terrific? I think is in it. That's what kind of worries me a little bit. But I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna give it a chance and just see. So.
I haven't seen any Superman movie, unfortunately, other than Man of Steel, and I hated Man of Steel.
Oh, you
haven't seen the originals?
I've only heard the memes and like stuff of like Superman 4 and shit, and like I'm gonna go around and turn back time and stuff, and I've only seen the memes and little clips here and there. I haven't actually watched them.
You gotta watch them. They're my favorite. They're my favorite Superman movies.
Well, because of my recent going through some of the old Marvel ones and whatnot, going through some of these ones, I might make it where I do check out some of these ones that I missed from the day that I have not seen, like the Superman 1 through 4. And was there like another one by somebody else later? Superman 1. I've seen Supergirl, oddly, the movie, the 70s movie.
That's the 80s. It's the 80s.
The 80s movie. Sorry. It felt like it was from the 60s. Like it felt really old the way that it was.
The 80s. No, there's the 4 Christopher Reeves ones. There's
that was a funny ass movie. She lands on Earth and is immediately accosted by 2 rapists, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you." She's like, "No." And she, like,
considered one of the worst movies.
It was awful, but it was funny. It was
it.
funny how bad that one was.
But I gotta say, Tom, I'm jealous that you got to talk with Dean Cain, because I I loved Lois and Clark. I watched that show I believe it was Sunday when I used to watch it as a kid. Every Sunday, I own all the DVDs. I always liked Dean Cain as Superman. So I'm jealous you got to talk with him.
And he's based as fuck.
I know, right? So I was jealous. But
yeah, all this stupid woke shit.
I'm extremely jealous of that.
Superman don't play that.
I've always liked Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, Dean Cain. Those was like always my top Superman when I think about them. So yeah. But I have to see Guardians 3. That is on my list. That is something I do want to see because I have actually heard good things about it. And that would actually be since No Way Home, the first Marvel movie I've seen since No Way Home. Because I was kind of
done. That's all you really need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
the only thing that I had was like when Peter Quill references Gamora, it's kind of like glazed over, like the old Gamora essentially. And it's kind of like, I feel like they want this to be a more serious scene, but they don't have enough time to really sit with it. So it's kind of a quick passing by acknowledgement and then move on. Which I feel like would have been better if they had a couple more quiet scenes for Quill, but it was mostly, I feel like there's such a big cast in the Guardians by now, honestly. It's so big.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to believe that they balance it so well compared to other ones that have wide casts.
It does remind me, you probably should see the Christmas special if you can.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I didn't see the Christmas special.
That actually plays more of a role in knowing some of what's going on in this film.
I think the main part was the fact that Mantis is his sister, though I think you could.
Yeah, spoilers. That's where you learn that.
Well, I was going to say she's a daughter of Ego, though. So I mean, it's technically already there for you.
Well, they never really said that,
but it's never acknowledged that they are like half brother and sister.
Yeah, she never really says that that's her dad.
It's not really spoiler. It's just now you know. Okay, cool.
But the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special is fucking hilarious. The whole plot of it is okay. Yeah. Now that he ruined that point, like the fact that she's his sister.
I feel like that was a spoiler because it's not treated that way in Guardians 3.
That's kind of the whole underlying point of that special is that he finds that out. But the whole main plot is to do something special for Christmas to remind him of home. Her and Drax get the idea to go kidnap Kevin Bacon. That's the plot. Like that. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you know, why not?
To bring him back for Quill for Christmas because that's his hero.
Speaking of Kevin Bacon.
Good segue, huh?
Yes. I mean, I could do that now, or you could go.
Go for it, bro. If you want
I'll do it now since we brought
Mine's
up.
going to be kind of short at the end, but it might be worth it.
Since we kind of brought up Kevin Bacon, well, we did bring up Kevin Bacon. I got this. Time to cut loose. Footloose.
I did too, but I didn't watch it. I watched about 2 minutes of it, and I'm like, this looks like ass.
Yeah, I heard you. I was watching it, and it's better than Planes, Trains, and Automobile.
It is.
Footloose 2 or just Footloose?
It is bitrate starved. I'll tell you that right off the top. It runs at an average of like 40 bits per second. It is, and there's some compression issue and or something going on. I'm trying to figure out what to call it. If somebody can tell me, I don't know what the hell. It's like there's some checkerboarding digital thing going on throughout the entire film. And it's not like a digitization. It's just, I don't know. It's something, and it's an older scan too. And I know it's only 3 or 4 years old, but to me, that's still too old for modern shit. I don't know.
I don't like that they had this glued on the back of the steelbook.
That was weird.
That was, like, why wasn't it on the inside?
Yeah. And for some reason they didn't carry over the DTSX soundtrack that's on the Blu-ray too for some reason. I don't understand why, but anyway, go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know why.
I was so pissed I didn't watch it. I wanted to watch it right away, and then as soon as I started, I got fucking it.
Well, I had a bit of an ordeal with mine because this was actually supposed to be delivered Tuesday.
Yeah, somebody else got a free Footloose because of you.
And you would think that once the Amazon guy set it on the porch with nothing in the envelope, that there's a problem there.
I guess he ordered a piece of paper.
So yeah, and I got it.
If I was that guy, unless I took the movie, the first thing I would do would be alert Amazon that this is not right. Something's not in here. This is opened and da 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 da. Because you would not be one to be blamed for it, but I don't know. And maybe they don't do a whole lot.
It's weird because I'm looking at the picture they sent me because they after they delivered they send you a picture and I'm like, there's nothing in that envelope, and I'm holding an envelope and like clearly this guy's a moron. If you just setting an empty envelope on somebody's porch and it's just like, why?
He just wanted to order one Post-it note. Like, I don't know.
My job is done. Damn it. I've done what I had to do.
Walking back to check.
I'm not guaranteed to bring you what's in the package. Just the
brought you the package. You're welcome. Thank you.
So I find the customer service number, and it's an all automated thing. And the guy's like, "Would you like to return the package?" I'm like, "No, there's nothing in the package. I've emailed you a thing so you can return the package." I'm like, "Give me an operator." So I got an operator.
You can return the paper.
Yeah, so I got him on there, and I got it here today. So I got it here today. It's not the greatest skin in the world, I would say, and the sound is especially with all that music, you want a good sound.
It's got like a tinny sound to it. I don't know what the hell it is.
But I will say it is better than some of the Paramount scans I've seen. It's better than some. It's way better than.
It's in the middle ground, and in fact, that'll lead me into mine when you're done, because mine's a Paramount scan too, as far as I can tell.
Okay, yeah. So if you have the old Blu-ray, go ahead. I don't see a need to upgrade, but personally, I think if you can get a hold of the Steelbook, it's a little worth it because you get the poster. The Steelbook looks awesome, and I mean, even though the Blu-ray, this Blu-ray and this comes with the new scan, I believe. Possibly, actually, I don't know. Do you know if the new Blu-ray comes?
Well, it's the same scan. That scan's 4 years old.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't feel the need to upgrade, that's okay.
Well, maybe because actually, maybe not, because I think I have the old Blu-ray and it's the 35th anniversary edition. I think.
So actually when I started talking about it, I thought I wonder
that or this scan is 5 years old, not just 4 years old, which I could believe.
But or even if you want to keep on to your DVD or VHS, I actually had the VHS of those too, which I should have grabbed.
What I don't understand is why they didn't carry over the new DTSX mix that's on that 35th anniversary edition, because that sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
And then why in the fuck isn't the original 2.0 stereos mix on here anyway, regardless?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Paramount has been weird about not carrying over the original sound mixes lately, and they used to do that on DVD.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, like, we have the right to give Paramount shit. We do. But they are giving us physical media. But they need to do a little better with their 4Ks here and there.
That or bring the price point down on this.
Yes.
It's still like $27 or whatever.
Yes, the prices do need to come down on these big time.
To me, it looked it reminded me a lot of the same problems that Rosemary's Baby had.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the disc is on too low. Like it's running at like an average of, like I said, 40 megabytes per second. I don't think it's seen it get much over that, which is horrible in comparison. Like the Conan discs that I brought on last week run at like an average bit rate of like 100 or 80 per second. Like it is always just maxed out, and they look gorgeous. And I did get in a disagreement with somebody within the Blu-ray community about this, trying to discuss the issues that this and other Paramount discs have. And people just don't seem to kind of get what I'm trying to say. And I wish I could show people what I'm getting at, but I'm watching this movie and it's like, there's like this checkerboard of digital over top of the picture through the whole movie. I don't know how else to explain it. It is the weirdest shit I've ever seen on a movie. and other people in the community that review movies say they don't see what I'm seeing, but I'm like, I'm seeing it. I'm not making the shit up.
I believe you, man. Like I said, I would say it's not the greatest scan in the world at all, but it's better than some Paramounts, but it's also not as good as other Paramounts that I've seen. And they do, like you said, they leave stuff off. They leave stuff off like that they had on previous releases. So at this point in time, I don't know if it's worth it to upgrade to the 4K of Footloose, but I enjoy the Steelbook. I love the Steelbook.
Considering how quickly Rosemary's Baby went down in price, I'd just wait.
Yeah, you might want to wait for that. You might want
just
to
wait. I mean, you'll probably get it for 15, 12 to 10, 12, 15 bucks in a few weeks.
I'm assuming there'll be probably more Steelbooks left. But But
what
yeah,
pissed me off about
standard
Paramount and that
movie.
fucking Rosemary's Baby, I got my replacement disc in the mail. They didn't do anything other than fix one line that was missing. I'm like, why didn't they remaster the motherfucker? Why isn't it a higher bit rate or whatever fuck it is you did to the movie? Not do it this time. It just irritates me. I wish I knew all the terminology, because then some of these people I talk to would know what I'm talking about. But
Right.
otherwise, it's like arguing, and then they feel like they treat you like you're a moron. It's like, no, I get what I'm trying to say, but I can't articulate it the way I'm trying to say it.
I feel you. I feel you.
So I'm just at a loss here with this one. Yes, it's not as bad as some of the worst. It's not nearly as good as like Wayne's World and stuff, but it has that neat issue going on, whatever it is, to even out the grain. So the grain looks soft.
Mhm.
And no matter what anybody tells me, I know what I'm looking at. I know what film is supposed to look like. Okay. In fact, I watched a 2K scan, I think it's a 4K scan put on 2K, that looked better than this of a movie from 60 years ago the other day. It's like, how the fuck is that possible? And you could just tell me it's some excuse about, oh, it just looks this way because of the way it was filmed. Oh, fuck that shit. That is not the case. That is not the case. I know the difference between bad looking film that's shot poorly or out of focus or something's wrong with it compared to, I mean, I'm keen enough to where I can tell if a shot's from the negative or not. And this movie, even though I know it's supposed to be from the negative, does not feel like it's from the negative. It does not feel like it was scanned at a high enough resolution to actually handle what 4K can deliver to us. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't know how to articulate that. That's the best I can give it. In fact, I'm not even sure when I'm going to watch this. I was so pissed off.
I hadn't seen it in years, though. I have not seen Footloose in years, so I was really excited to watch it. I'm happy. I'm happy to have it, but I can't argue this. I can't argue with you. It's not a great.
And a lot of these people that just come back
know?
with, well, it's the best it's ever going to look, or it's the best it's ever looked. Like the latter may be true, but the former is definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could do better than this.
That's true. That's true.
Give me the negative. I'll go fucking make a better skin.
But regardless, I mean, yeah, you might want to wait. The prices probably will come down a little bit on this. That's the thing with these Paramounts. Sometimes they come out like Trading Places and Scrooge look pretty good, look pretty darn good. And they were like only like $19.99, I think, when they first came out. Yeah, and I think they're might be a little cheaper now.
Now you can get it for cheaper. And there's another one I haven't brought on yet because it pissed me off so bad that I stopped watching it. The Firm with Tom Cruise.
And
and that movie came out in the fucking 90s. There's no excuse. It looks like shit. And it's the same problem as these discs here. Whatever it is they did to it is the same. And I think it's because it's an older scan. Whatever they did back then, it just was not up to snuff for what 4K disc can deliver. I think that's it. That's the best way I can explain it. Unless somebody can please reach out to me. Otherwise, I mean, because I'm at a loss on this one. I'm sorry. I took over that. Go ahead.
No, because you're better. You got a better eye than I do, because I can see that maybe the scan is not great, but also I don't see like you see. You know a little bit more about film grain and all that than I do. So I
know what natural film grain / noise is supposed to look like, and this is not it.
Yeah, but I love the movie. The movie, you know, Kevin Bacon's character of Ren moves to this small town with his mom, and dancing is outlawed because the preachers. Oh my gosh, I just watched it. Was his daughter died, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Something like that.
She was going over and dancing and getting drunk, and she died in a car wreck. So they outlawed dancing and stuff because it leads to drinking and all that stuff. And so Kevin Bacon shows up, and he's a bit of a rebel, and he likes to dance. And so he changes the town upside down, and he gets them to have a dance and everything, and change their ways, and show them that dancing can be fun and not dangerous or deadly. Just let the kids be kids and all that stuff. So.
Well, he saved an entire town by getting a stick out of their butt.
Yeah, exactly. Much like
the stick there.
Exactly. That's what it was. See, that's what I thought. I mean, I'm glad they cast Kurt Russell as his dad, but I would have thought it would have been hilarious to have Kevin Bacon.
Well, they found a way to bring him in because he is in the world, right? So that's the beauty of this. It's
right.
Like,
yeah, he's now in
it
the
plays
world.
into that whole. You should check it out. And I know you probably don't have Disney Plus, but if you can find a way, I might be able to hook you up with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to buy it. I don't think the Blu-ray, the 4K is that.
No, well, you can't see the Christmas special only on
yeah,
fucking Disney
Christmas,
Plus,
yeah, that's
sadly.
true.
But I'll see if I can get it for you. If not, I'm sure somebody in the audience will hook you up.
But I enjoy the movie Footloose. I think it's a great movie. I wish the scan was a little better, but I'm digging the steelbook. I gotta be honest. I'm really I'm just happy to have the steelbook, and I know that's weird because I'm.
It is one of the better steelbooks we've gotten in a while.
Yeah, I'm not like a full-on steelbook guy.
Neither am I, but this is cool. It looks cool.
But this is pretty cool. Yeah. I see something you just sent me. Not actually that kind of.
Yeah, while we were on here, we actually had a rumor,
Yeah.
and I think we've rumored this before, but now the rumor is saying it's supposed to be soon.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm actually down for that. Oh, speaking of which, it's American Pie, guys. American Pie looks like to be coming to 4K. So Shannon Elizabeth titties in 4K. I'm happy for that. But yeah, I really like. I brought them on not too long ago. I watched all of them again. I really enjoyed rewatching them. I hadn't seen them in years, and it was like a weird experience because like I was in high school when I watched the first movie came out, and watching the first movie and then making it to the one where they go to the reunion. It like really, especially now that I'm older, like I think it improves the movies. I really do, and I kind of hope they don't make any more. I mean, even though it's the 13th year reunion, when it's clearly supposed to be the 20th reunion, I think they ended on a pretty good, decent note. But yeah, Footloose. If you guys want it, you can pick it up now. You might want to wait a little bit. The price, I think, will come down. So there you go. That's my final
the remake, from what I've heard.
Oh yeah, I've never seen the remake.
Never seen it either.
I've heard it was bad. I've heard it was really bad.
Well, and it makes no sense to me. I think I've said this before. Maybe not on here, but I know I've said it before. Like, I don't understand why they didn't just make the musical. Because then I don't think anybody would have said shit. Because that was even during that era, right? Where we had the producers and Hairspray and all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, they were movies before, but they're not exactly the same because they're doing the Little Shop of Horrors thing. Okay, yeah. Cool. There's a jukebox musical stage play of Footloose where they literally integrate all the songs from the soundtrack into the musical. Why didn't they just do that?
like the Mean Girls
This was in the height of like Glee and shit. It would have probably been a big hit, actually. And I don't think anybody would have been, because, and parents, I don't think the parents would have went with their kids because I think if they'd have seen that, they're like, oh, it's not replacing the original. It's a new twist on the original.
Yeah.
Right. See, and that's what I'm talking about. You come in and you do something like that. Like, I don't care about the producers and Hairspray. I still like the originals better, but you don't hear me bitching about them because they are so different from what the original film is in that respect. They're musicals now. So they're its own kind of genre, and it's a change of genre almost in a way. So I'm fine with that.
Right.
But why and then you've got, what was it? Like, I can't remember. They basically have a bunch of country singers redoing a bunch of the music and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Honky tonked it up and shit. And I'm like,
Blake
what the?
Shelton sings Footloose.
Blake Shelton, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hail Tim Hayes, glad to have you here. And Hollifield said it sucks. His wife made him watch it. She apologized after. So
Footloose or the remake?
The remake,
I imagine. Okay, I was going to say, because the original one is one of those rare movies that you would think, like, looking at it on the surface is like, oh, that's a chick flick.
Right.
The guys actually dig it. It's a good film. It's just
there's something about
just
it.
one of those movies. It's of its time. It's the music, the emotion that's involved in it, the fact that it's loosely footloosely based on a true story.
Yeah. I get it though, but it's still a damn good movie, man. Even rewatching it, I have not seen it in years. It is a damn good movie. Yeah, Chris Penn does look unrecognizable in that it's when early days he was young, he was skinny.
Oh yeah, he's really young.
So yeah.
Anthony, to answer your question on Iron Eagle, we've not even gotten a Blu-ray release in the US, dude. No the one I got's Italian, I think.
We don't even have Blu-ray releases in the US of the Hot Shot movies, and that's ridiculous.
I know, I've got the imports of those too, but yeah. So here's my I think it's Italian. Maybe it's Spanish. I don't know. Agula la di Herrero. And I got the sequel, Alua del Guerrero 2. We got part 3 in the US via Kino Lorber though, but yeah.
Which is weird. That's the only one we got.
It's like hardly even a sequel to the original films. It's so it could have been its own damn movie. Really. I mean, it could have.
Yeah, very much, very much.
Just a movie about some old pilots from
and you could have still had Lou Gossett Jr. in it with that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really, I mean, it has nothing to do with the other films, really. Other than it's just the same character.
Aussie DVD fan, no, I do not think Blu-ray is pointless now because of 4K. Because as we're seeing, in some cases, the 4K scans aren't really great, and the Blu-rays are better, and Blu-rays are still very, very.
Well, that aside, even really good 4K scans put onto Blu-ray, I mean,
they look amazing.
I was watching Popeye the other night. And my God, it looked like a 4K Blu-ray. It looked that good. Right.
I mean,
like it had all the proper what I was just talking about, a grain and stuff that I would see normally on a 4K scan, but on a standard Blu-ray, I was blown away.
Right.
So if you do it right, you can make a Blu-ray look almost damn as good as a 4K.
You can. I mean, even like we just talked about Joe's apartment. Looks great.
Looks really good. Not great, but good. Yeah. Pretty good.
You want to see great? Watch Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. That looks amazing on Blu-ray.
See, and that's where I wonder, because Warner Archive, and that's who did the Popeye one I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
They do the best fucking work besides Sony.
I would when I was watching
Arrow.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course Arrow, and to me Arrow and Vinegar Syndrome are probably neck and neck for how good their scans are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never had a problem with any of their fucking scans generally, unless it's a scan that's given to them by the company and they have to be stuck with it.
Right.
And I think they are region free, yeah, but they're like I can't remember if it's a UK release or an Australian release I got, but I got them. I'll bring them on eventually. I've been wanting to watch them, but yeah.
Yeah. But there you guys go. If you want to check out Footloose, you can wait. The price will probably drop down if you want it on 4K, or if you're good with your Blu-ray, don't worry about it. I'm glad to have it because I like the Steelbook, and I'm fine with it. But yeah, it's not a great scan. With that being said, leading over to you, Tom, for your final pick of the night.
Hold up.
Okay.
I actually have an update on Footloose that just came from, I'm not going to say who because it was the individual I was having arguments with, but let's just say he's one of the big authorities in Blu-ray.
Okay.
Looks like Footloose may have been transferred from the inner positive, not the negative. That explains it. That's what it looked like to me. God dang right.
Okay, so they did not scan it from the actual. It's an inner positive scan. Huh.
Well, that makes sense to me because you know what? I'm almost convinced that like Die Hard 2, 3, and 4 on digital 4K are just inner positive scans. They're definitely not the negative. Because I was gonna watch Die Hard 2 last year, and I'm like, this looks like shit. And I'm like, I put Die Hard in, I'm like, Die Hard 1 looks good. That looks like what it came from the negative, but Die Hard 2 definitely didn't. I don't think Die Hard 3 or 4 did either. But I did watch Die Hard 3, but that was way back when I first got my 4K TV, so I didn't quite differentiate them. So it definitely looked better in my Blu-ray at that time, but I didn't realize, am I looking at an inner positive? Am I looking at the negative? I didn't know how to tell the difference. But now that explains a lot because that's what it looks like to me. And that's what I was going to say is like, and that's what I'm wondering about Rosemary's Baby too. God damn it. That would also explain a lot because that's the other thing about the bit rate. So I'm looking at it going, I've also seen some low bit rate 4K scans that still look pretty goddamn good. This is having more issues than that. There's something not smelling right here. And that would explain it. That actually leads me to my next one because it is a Paramount title. Okay. It does come from the negative, and it is a Kino Lorber release. And normally, this is what is weird to me, is it says from a 4K scan of the 35mm original camera negative, but it doesn't say from Paramount, which they usually will pass the buck. But this also has International Pictures involved, so maybe International Pictures did, but you still think they would say that because normally Kino Lorber does not take credit for a scan unless they did it. But I still don't think they did this because I've never seen any of their scans this bad. But it's a Paramount title and it suffers from a lot of the same Paramount problems. In fact, this is on par, almost as bad as American Graffiti. Now, I know from my research, this movie is in rough shape in the negative form. Okay, that being said, and not only that, the quality varies a lot. That is true. But that being said, there's some negative shots in this. There's some shots in this that you can clearly tell are from the negative and look amazing, and some other shots that look like dog shit. But what they have done is scrubbed the ever-loving shit out of the grain, and then they went and added grain on the fake grain on top of it like American Graffiti. Now, they're not as waxy as they are in American Graffiti, mind you. There's still some original resolution here. But I'm sad to say it because I actually kind of enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would. Now, it is a slow fucking burn. I'm going to tell you guys that right off the front because you literally don't see one of the monsters till over an hour into the movie.
I know. I was going to buy this.
This is a movie where I didn't even know it existed, and you know how much I love rubber monster movies.
Yes, It
predates Gremlins, but has kind of a Gremlin-esque kind of monster meets a alien in it kind of looking thing. But they're in there, and I think I'm trying to remember who actually did the effects. So I think they were done by shit. It doesn't say on the back here either. I'm trying to remember who did them. But anyway, you know the movie I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Sad part is I didn't hate the movie. Like I said, it is a slow burn and it takes a while to get into, and some of the actors are fucking horrible. But it has like enough cheesy elements to it that it keeps you going for that bit till when you get to the last half hour, which makes it worth it. Because the creatures are kind of cool. The idea is kind of cool. You just wish it was like 20 minutes shorter. And that, unfortunately, is The Boogans, a movie that I guess has a storied history on home video, and it doesn't end now because this one looks like dog shit, unfortunately. But again, I have to stress that it's the best the movie's ever looked because it's 4K and they have gone back to the negative. So you have that. But had they not just scrubbed the resolution out of this so badly, I wouldn't be so upset.
That's I was actually going to ask you about that movie because I was going to buy it. I was going to ask you if you ever seen it because I saw that it was a rubber monster type movie. And you know, we like those type of movies. So I was going to say, I wonder if Tom's in it because I've never seen The Boogans. So that's interesting to know. I know that Olive actually had a Blu-ray release of this at one point. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I've always heard it was a bit of a slow moving movie and the monsters don't really pop up till near the end. So love that movie, Tyrell says. Yes. Ace Hanlon has never heard of it. Kill the Geek says it's beyond cheesy. It's interesting because, like you said, Kino really does typically do good work. There's very rare moments with Kino where I've seen any problems with any of their scans, 2K to 4K, and I don't know. Is it maybe somebody else did the scan or something? And that Kino is like, it's weird. It's weird. Good night, Brian Barth. Thanks for hanging with us. Have a good one. But I can't talk much about the movie because I've never seen it. Rook, how about you? I bet you've never seen it.
Nope. Didn't get me on this one. Nope.
You're awfully quiet, Rook. You sure you've never seen this one?
Yeah. Wise guy.
No, I don't think cheesy is not necessarily bad. I love a good cheese movie. Shoot, half of what I watch is just cheesy, campy movies because I love cheesy, campy. My philosophy is, life's too short to be watching a bunch of shitty movies that you don't like. I'd rather be watching a bunch of shitty movies I do like. So that's what I see. I mean, most people will look at Test Tube Teens from the year 2000 and say that's a shitty movie. I look at that and say that's a shitty good movie.
Test Tube Alien Teenagers from Beverly Hills. That makes sense.
So yeah, But Tom, if you have any final words or anything else you want to say about the Boogans, it's.
I mean, I didn't really watch, and there's not much for special features on here. There's a few things. There's like a featurette with Howard S. Berger. I wonder if he's the one who did it says film historian, but I thought he was also a special effects guy. I could be wrong. I didn't listen to any commentaries or anything like that. I did do some like outside research on the film just to kind of find out a little bit about it. Now, of course, the director James Conway. He famously keeps putting his wife in his movies, and she shows her boobs in this one, and I'm assuming that's same in a lot of their other movies that they do together. But I guess this is one of the more famous ones and one that people do enjoy, and I can see why. It's a good little fun little. I can definitely see you liking it, Greg. I mean, it's again, but you understand it's a slow burn. It's an early '80s movie, etc., etc.
Yeah. I mean, that's like my cup of tea. I don't mind a slow burn as long as it gets to a really good conclusion. And I love 80s movies, and boobs are always a plus, and little rubber monsters are always a plus, even if it takes a little while to get to them. And so, yeah, I was actually going to buy that till I got into the hospital. It was actually going to be, it was in my cart, and then I forgot about it. Yeah, I assume I will. Or that probably would have been on here tonight. I probably would have had that with you tonight if I would have ordered it when I was planning on ordering it, because I was going to have that and Footloose, to be honest with you. But yeah, because I saw Kino release that, and I was like, oh, I want that. But that's that's all I got to say. So, all right there. If there's anything else you guys want to say or talk about before we close it out, we managed to do 2 hours, and we each had 2 picks, and only me and Tom actually brought physical media tonight on the physical media show.
I know, right?
I'll give you one thing. At least you never said you watched it on your phone yet.
That's true. I don't think I've ever consumed a movie on my phone.
Runner has.
That's a little crazy to me, unless I'm like in hell or something, and there's nothing to do. I must distract myself, and then I'd probably watch YouTube over. I'd want to be in a setting to watch a movie, Like, I guess that's part of it.
All right. Well, that was a good show tonight. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rook. Thank you, everybody out in the chat hanging with us tonight. Thank you, everybody at home watching tonight. Once again, thank you all for all your well wishes that you sent my way. I appreciate that, guys. With all that being said, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay. You got to find the clip.
Bitches leave.
Yeah, you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.